Good morning, students. Yesterday we finished techniques involved in plant tissue culture. What are the basic steps involved in plant tissue culture technology are sterilization, media preparation, culture condition, induction of callus, embryogenesis, hardening. Then we discussed types of plant tissue culture. Based on the explants, some other plant tissue culture types are organ culture, meristem culture, protoplast culture, cell culture. We finished first two organ culture and meristem culture. Today we are going to discuss about protoplast culture, cell suspension culture, production of secondary metabolites, plant regeneration pathway, somatic embryogenesis, organogenesis, applications of plant tissue culture. First of all, we are going to discuss protoplast culture. What is protoplasts? The protoplasts are cells without a cell wall but bounded by a cell membrane or plasma membrane. Using protoplast, it is possible to regenerate whole plants from single cells and develop somatic hybrids. The steps involved in protoplast culture are isolation of protoplast, fusion of protoplast, culture of protoplast, selection of somatic hybrid cells. Now we are going to discuss about isolation of protoplast.
Protoplast technology includes the isolation, culture, and fusion of higher plant protoplasts, leading to the production of entire plants. A hybrid produced by fusion of somatic cells of two varieties or a species is called a somatic hybrid. This process of producing somatic hybrids is known as somatic hybridization. The first step in somatic hybridization is the isolation of protoplast. Let us see about the isolation of protoplast. Protoplast can be isolated from a variety of plant tissues using either mechanical or enzymatic methods. Let us see about the mechanical method. In this method, the cells are kept in a suitable plasmolyticum, that is, the protoplast shrink away from the cell wall in a plasmolyzed cell and cut with a fine knife so that protoplasts are released from cells through the opening of the cell wall. This method gives poor yield of protoplast and it is being rarely used. Let us know about the enzymatic method. Leaves from a 10-week-old plant are sterilized with 70% alcohol and then treating them with 2% solution of sodium hypochlorite for 20 to 30 minutes. The leaves are then washed with sterile water and subsequent procedures are done under aseptic conditions, that is, using laminar airflow chamber. The lower epidermis of the leaf is peeled off and the leaf is cut into small fragments. From the peeled leaf segments, the protoplasts are isolated. For isolation of protoplast, peeled leaf segments are placed with their lower surface downwards in a petri dish containing the exime mixture, which consists of 0.5% macerozyme, 2% cellulose in 13% sorbitol or mannitol at a pH 5.4. Finally, the protoplasts are released and kept in the isotonic solution.
So we see this video for isolation of protoplast. In our syllabus, we are going to discuss about the enzymatic method. The small bits of plant tissue like leaf tissue are used for isolation of protoplast. The leaf tissue is immersed in 0.5% macerozyme, 2% cellulose enzyme dissolved in 13% sorbitol or mannitol at pH 5.4. The enzymatic mixture, the pH is adjusted to 5.4. Then it is incubated overnight at 25 degrees Celsius. After a gentle teasing of cells, the protoplasts are obtained and these are then transferred to 20% sucrose solution to retain their viability. Then they are centrifuged to get pure protoplast as different debris of the cell walls. Then we are going to discuss fusion of protoplast. What do you mean by fusion? It is done through the use of suitable fusogen. This is normally polyethylene glycol. Then the isolated protoplasts are incubated in 25 to 30% concentrated of PEG with calcium ions, and the protoplast shows agglutination. It is nothing but the formation of clump of cells, then followed by fusion.
Protoplasmic fusion cost. Protoplast fusion facilitates the mixing of two genomes and could be exploited in crosses which are not possible by conventional techniques due to incompatibility. Even though the transfer of a single gene from one plant to another is desirable, and the protoplast fusion facilitates an easy monitoring of cell genetic changes. Protoplast fusion could be spontaneous during the isolation of protoplast, or it can be induced by mechanical, chemical, and physical means. The isolated protoplasts are kept in isotonic solution, that is, mannitol and enzyme mixture, to prevent the damage. The isolated parent protoplasts are fused with a fusogenic agent like polyethylene glycol, that is PEG. It is followed by nuclear fusion and results in a somatic hybrid. The somatic hybrids are allowed to grow in the same culture medium. The fused protoplasts are then induced to regenerate the cell wall by transferring it into a suitable medium. This is followed by callus formation, which leads to regeneration and organization of tissues. List out the practical applications of
This is the overall schematic representation of protoplast culture. Here, from the young plant, the leaf is taken and the leaf is undergoes to sterilization. Then epidermis is peeling, followed by peeled leaf segments. So lower epidermis we can use for peel off. Then plasmolized cells we are going to use with the help of cells enzyme mixture. From the enzyme mixture, we are going to get the digestion of cell wall to release the protoplast. Then washing of the protoplast, we can find out the debris as well as protoplast. Now we are getting the isolated protoplast. So up to this, the isolation of protoplast. Then followed by fusion of protoplast, the plating of protoplast, then cell wall regeneration, clump of cells, callus tissue, differentiation of callus tissue, and the plantlets derived from protoplast. Finally, we are getting the new plantlets. So this is the overall schematic representation of protoplast culture. Now, what is the culture of protoplast? Whenever we are going to keep the isolated protoplast in MS liquid medium is used with some modification in droplet or plating of or microtop array techniques, protoplast viability is tested with fluorescein diacetate before the culture. So whenever we are going to isolate the protoplast, we can find out or tested with fluorescein diacetate. It is only for identification of viability of the protoplast. The cultures are incubated in continuous light 1000 to 2000 lux at 25 degrees Celsius. The cell wall formation occurs within 24 to 48 hours, and the first division of new cells occurs between 2 to 7 days of culture. So culture of protoplast, it is only takes place in the MS liquid medium. Then fourth step, selection of somatic hybrid cells. Here we are going to use the somatic cells as the leaf. So we are getting the somatic hybrid. The fusion product of protoplast without nucleus of different cells is called as hybrid. What is hybrid? The fusion product of protoplasts without nucleus of different cells is called as hybrid. Following this nuclear fusion happen, this process is called as somatic hybridization. The hybrid which formed from the single somatic cells, that is called as somatic hybridization. This is the droplet method for culture of protoplast. This is the another method for plating method of culture of protoplast. So these are the various type. We are going to culture of protoplast by using droplet method, plating or microtrop array techniques. We can use the culture of protoplast. Now we are going to see the cell suspension culture. What do you mean by cell culture? It is otherwise known as cell suspension culture. The growing of cells, including the culture of single cells or small aggregates of cells in vitro in liquid medium, is known as cell suspension culture. So we are going to use it for the liquid medium. So we are getting the cell suspension culture. The cell suspension is prepared by transferring a portion of callus, the liquid medium, and agitated using rotatory shaker instrument. Already we find out the what is agitator. It is only for shaker instrument. The cells are separated from the callus tissue and used for cell suspension culture. So what is cell suspension culture? The growing of cells, including the culture of single cells or small aggregates of cells in vitro in liquid medium. We can note about it is the liquid medium is known as cell suspension culture. The cell suspension is prepared by transferring a portion of callus to the liquid medium and agitated using rotatory or rotary shaker instrument. The cells are separated from the callus tissue and used for cell suspension culture. So these are the different types of plant tissue culture technique based on the explant. Some other plant tissue culture, organ culture, mesostem culture, protoplast culture, cell culture. The cell culture is also known as cell suspension culture. Next we discuss about production of secondary metabolites. What do you mean by metabolites? Already we know about. In the very first I told about digoxin, codeine, capsaicin, vincristine, quinine. These are the secondary metabolites produced from the plant resources. Now we are going to production of secondary metabolites by cell suspension culture. The cell suspension culture can be useful for the production of secondary metabolites like alkaloids, flavonoids, terpenoids, phenolic compounds, and recombinant proteins. Secondary metabolites are chemical compounds that are not required by the plant for normal growth and development but are produced in the plant as byproduct of cell metabolism. For example, biosynthesis and isolation of indole alkaloids from Catharanthus roseus. We know about what is Catharanthus roseus. It is commonly known as Nithya Kalyani by the plant cell culture. So the secondary metabolites are nothing but chemical compounds that are not required by the plant for normal growth and development but are produced in the plant as byproducts. So example for byproduct of Catharanthus roseus is indole alkaloids. It is isolated and used for several properties. Then the process of production of secondary metabolites can be scaled up and automated using bioreactors for commercial production. Many strategies such as biotransformation, elicitation, and immobilization have been used to make cell suspension culture more efficient in the production of secondary metabolites. The process of production of secondary metabolites can be scaled up and automated using bioreactors for commercial production. Nowadays, we are going to use for bioreactors to synthesize or produce more amount of secondary metabolites which are used for commercial. So today we are going to commercially produce large amount of secondary metabolites as a therapeutic product. It can be used only with the help of bioreactors. So bioreactors is nothing but it is used for growing of or multiplication of secondary metabolites in large quantities. The secondary metabolites can be growth with the help of cell suspension culture by the different method. So many strategies such as biotransformation. So what is biotransformation? It is nothing but உயிரி சார் நிலை மாற்றம், அதாவது உயிரியல் சார்ந்த நிலை மாற்றத்தினால் உருவாக்கக்கூடிய ஒரு முறை. செகண்ட் ஒன் எலிசிட்டேஷன். இட் இஸ் ஒன்லி பேஸ்ட் ஆன் த மெட்டபலைட்ஸ், வளர்சிதை மாற்ற பொருள் தூண்டல். தேர்ட் ஒன் immobilization, முடக்க வளர்ப்பு முறை. ஸோ தீஸ் ஆர் த வேரியஸ் strategies we can follow to production of secondary metabolites. Now we are going to discuss about the table secondary metabolites the plant source uses. First one is the digoxin. The digoxin is obtained from the plant source Digitalis purpurea. It is used as a cardiac tonic. Then the secondary metabolites codeine. It is obtained from the Papaver somniferum. It is used as the analgesic. So what do you mean by analgesic? It is painkiller. So that is codeine. It is obtained from the Papaver somniferum. In Tamil it is called as kasagasa. Then third one, capsaicin. It is obtained from the Capsicum annuum. It is one of the chili variety. It is used for rheumatic pain treatment. Rheumatic means vadavali. So that is only relief for the rheumatic pain treatment. The next one, vincristine. The vincristine is obtained from the Catharandus roseus. Already I told Nithya Kalyani. It is other name Vinca rosea. It is used as the anti-carcinogenic. புற்றுநோய்க்கு எதிர்மருந்தாக பயன்படுது. The next one, quinine. It is obtained from the plants Cinchona officinalis. It is used to cure malaria. So it is anti-malarial properties. Is nothing but quinine. So these are the secondary metabolites. This is the important one for one word as well as 2 mark. So name the secondary metabolites and their uses. Digoxin, obtained from Digitalis purpurea, used as a cardiac tonic. Codeine, Papaver somniferum, analgesic. Capsaicin, Capsicum annuum, rheumatic pain treatment. Vincristine, Catharandus roseus, anti-carcinogenic. Quinine, Cinchona officinalis, anti-malarial. Now we are going to discuss about the plant regeneration pathway. Already we know about how the plant developed from the single cell. We are going to use the explant. So from the explants, plants can be regenerated by somatic embryogenesis or organogenesis. The embryogenesis or organogenesis is also comes under the basic steps involved in the plant tissue culture technology. So first one, we can see the left side, the explant. The explant is nothing but we can use as the meristem. Meristem use பண்ணலாம். Then shoot apex, it also used as the meristem culture. So virus free plants are produced by the apical shoot meristem culture. Then we are going to use the stem of the explant. From the stem we can use the node. From the node we can get the multiple shoot induction micropropagation method. It undergoes to root induction, then followed by plantlets, hardening, transfer to field. So this is another step. Or otherwise we can use the leaf, root, callus. From the callus we are getting the new plantlets by a indirect embryogenesis. Or otherwise explant which are going to directly to produce the new plantlets is called as direct embryogenesis. So here we are going to use the plant regeneration pathway. The explant is used for virus free plantlets, then node for micropropagation method, then direct embryogenesis as well as indirect embryogenesis. We can see the separate protocol. So this is the important one, flowchart for plant regeneration pathway. What is the method we can follow? The direct embryogenesis. So here the direct embryogenesis, it undergoes to embryoids, the development of embryoids. Then from the embryoids it produces plantlets, then undergoes to hardening, transfer to field. Whereas in indirect method, the explant which are we are going to use as a stem, leaf, root or meristem, whatever may be. So we are going to discuss about the organ culture, meristem culture, protoplast culture, cell culture. So this is the first one, meristem, shoot apex, stem, leaf, root, whatever may be. It undergoes to production of callus. That callus is developed into the indirect embryogenesis. It is nothing but shoot induction and root induction. Then finally it produces the plantlets, undergoes to hardening, then transfer to field. So this is for indirect embryogenesis. Direct embryogenesis, the explant directly produce the embryoids, plantlets, hardening, transfer to field. Whereas in indirect embryogenesis, whatever may be we are going to use from the explant, shoot, meristem, leaf, root, which develop into callus. From the callus, it induced the shoot as well as root. Then production of plantlets undergoes to hardening and finally transfer to field is the indirect embryogenesis. So we can find out virus-free plantlets produced by the shoot apex meristem culture. So that's all. So this is for plant regeneration pathway. Next we are going to discuss about somatic embryogenesis. Already we discussed about the embryogenesis in the basic techniques in involved plant tissue culture. The callus cells undergoes to differentiation and produce somatic embryo. So in plant tissue culture we are going to use the somatic cells, whatever may be a part of the plant, either root, stem or leaf, which are going to produce the embryo is called as embryoids. So here the somatic embryogenesis is the formation of embryos from the callus tissue directly, and these embryos are called embryoids, or from the in vitro cells directly from pre-embryonic cells which differentiate into embryoids. This is called as somatic embryogenesis. Then what are the applications of somatic embryogenesis? By the somatic embryogenesis provides potential plantlets which after hardening period can establish into plants. So we are getting the effective plantlets, that is known as potential plantlets. Then second point, somatic embryos can be used for the production of synthetic seeds. What are synthetic seeds? Artificial seeds are produced by the somatic embryoids. Then third one, somatic embryogenesis is now reported in many plants such as Allium sativum, now the commonly called as garlic. Then Codium vulgar, Oryza sativa, Xiames, and this possible in any plant. So somatic embryogenesis we can produce from any plant. Now it is reported in many plants such as Allium sativum, Codium vulgar, Oryza sativa, Xiames. Then what is synthetic seeds? Synthetic seeds are produced by encapsulation of embryoids in agarose gel or calcium alginate. What do you mean by encapsulation? We are going to cover the embryo by using of agarose gel and calcium alginate. Now it is called as synthetic seeds. For example, the embryo which are developed by the somatic cells, that embryo undergoes to covered by using agarose gel and calcium alginate. Now this embryoid is called as synthetic seeds. Today we are going to see the next topic, organogenesis. So embryogenesis, organogenesis, it is one of the basic techniques involved in the plant tissue culture. Organogenesis, whenever the induction of callus occur in the culture medium. What do you mean by callus? The mass of undifferentiated cells which are developed from the single cell. The callus which undergoes to differentiated. For example, the callus which develop into root or shoot are called as organogenesis. So the morphological changes occur in the callus leading to the formation of shoot and root is known as organogenesis. So the root which are developed from the callus is called as rhizogenesis, or otherwise the shoot which are developed from the callus is called as caulogenesis. Whenever the root and shoot develop from the callus, it undergoes to development of plantlets. So this is called as organogenesis. So organogenesis is nothing but the development of organ like root and shoot from the callus is called as organogenesis. The organogenesis is only developed from the callus. It is the callus undergoes to differentiated. The callus which differentiate into shoot are called as caulogenesis. The callus which differentiate into root are called as rhizogenesis. Both root and shoot are which are developed into plantlets. Now, the organogenesis can be induced in vitro by introducing plant growth regulators in the MS medium. So, already we know about what is the plant growth regulator, auxin and cytokinin. Yesterday I told about what is the composition of auxin and cytokinin. When we are going to induce root and shoot formation by the addition of auxin and cytokinin only. For example, when we are going to give the more auxin, low cytokinin, it initiate the root formation. Vice versa, low auxin, high cytokinin, it induces the shoot formation. So organogenesis is only followed by the growth regulators which addition with the MS medium. So that's all for organogenesis. Then applications of plant tissue culture. The plant tissue culture techniques have several applications such as improved hybrids production through the somatic hybridization. This question is an important one. What are the applications of plant tissue culture? Plant tissue culture techniques have several applications such as, first point, improved hybrids. What do you mean improved hybrids? So nowadays we are going to produce more number of variety of rice, wheat, etc. It is called as improved hybrids. Then somatic embryoids can be encapsulated into synthetic seeds. Simple, it is said to be artificial synthetic seeds can be produced through the applications of plant tissue culture. So somatic embryoids can be encapsulated into synthetic seeds. These encapsulated seeds or synthetic seeds help in conservation of plant biodiversity. So for example, what is synthetic seeds? The seeds produced by the encapsulation of embryoids in agarose gel or calcium alginate. Whatever may be the part of the plant which are going to produce as the embryoids from the single cell. That embryoids are covered by agarose gel and calcium alginate. We are going to use as a seed. So they are called as synthetic seeds. It is widely used for help in conservation of plant biodiversity. Then third one, production of disease resistant plants. What do you mean disease resistant plants? Example, virus free plants are produced by apical meristem culture. So here production of disease resistant plants through meristem and shoot tip culture. Then fourth point, production of stress resistant plants like herbicide tolerant, heat tolerant. Already I told about what is transgenic plants. Genetically modified plants are called as transgenic plants. Through the genetically modified plants or nothing but transgenic plants, we can introduce the new varieties like stress resistant. What do you mean stress resistant? That is saline resistant or water resistant, whatever may be. That is called as saline resistant. Herbicide resistant. Whenever we are going to herbicide for the particular field, it tolerant to the herbicide. So that is called as herbicide tolerant. Then heat tolerant, temperature tolerant plants. It also produced by the plant tissue culture. It is nothing but transgenic plants. Then fifth one, micropropagation technique to obtain large number of plantlets of both crop and tree species useful in forestry within a short span of time and all through the year. So micropropagation technique is only used for production of large number of plant within a short period. So by the application of plant tissue culture, we can produce more number of plantlets by using of micropropagation technique. So it is widely used for forestry. Then sixth point, production of secondary metabolites from cell culture. What is cell culture? Cell suspension culture. Utilized in pharmaceutical. What is pharmaceutical? Therapeutic product or medicinal properties are known as pharmaceutical. Cosmetic. It is only for used as the facial, etc. And food industries. So these are the applications of plant tissue culture. So this is the today last class for the last topic, somoclonal variation and gametoclonal variation. So differentiate somoclonal variation and gametoclonal variation. Somatic variation found in plants regenerated in vitro. Somatic variation, that is nothing but the variation found in leaf, stem, root, tuber or proboscis, which are found in plants regenerated in vitro. In vitro condition, we are going to produce a somatic variation through the plant tissue culture. Then gametoclonal variation, the gametophytic variation found in plants regenerated in vitro gametic origin, that is variation found in gametes and gametophyte. So in somoclonal variation, the variation found in leaf, stem, root, tuber or proboscis, it is nothing but somatic cell variation. Whereas gametoclonal variation, the variation found in gametes and gametophyte is known as gametoclonal variation. What is a gametophyte? In algae and bryophyte, the plant body is called as gametophyte. Here we can see the variation occur in the gametophyte is called as gametoclonal variation. So that's all. Today's topic over. Tomorrow we can continue about the next topic, micropropagation of banana to cryopreservation. Okay, bye students.